the former mayor of Sackett's Harbor, says many of the co-owners of Funnyside who experienced that year together still live in the village.
Since we got involved with the horse, it was Party City. I mean, we seldom go a week without going to somebody's house. We're all very close. And by the way, I live on Funnyside Drive now.
Sackett's Harbor named a street after their famous horse. Funnyside spent the last 15 years of his life in comfort at a horse farm in Kentucky. Brian Mann, NPR News in northern New York.
Utah Governor Spencer Cox wants politicians to disagree better. The new chair of the National Governors Association talks with Scott Simon tomorrow on Weekend Edition. Listen wherever you are, on your phone, your computer, your smart speaker, or on the radio.
Marketplace Morning Report is coming up next on WNYC. And then in 10 minutes at 9 o'clock, it's the BBC News Hour on WNYC. Let's check in with London and see what they're working on. London, good morning.
Good morning, WNYC. I'm Rebecca Kesby. On today's News Hour, could riots sparked by the cost of living crisis in Kenya threaten political stability? We'll be in Italy with harrowing stories of how migrants risk their lives to head for Europe. And why do older orca whale mothers protect their sons well into adulthood? That's BBC News Hour coming up at 9 on WNYC.
Mid-70s right now, clouds in some spots, raining and showers in other spots. Showers and thunderstorms today could produce gusty winds, heavy rain and flash flooding, a high of 81 on this Friday. It's 8:51.
WNYC is supported by the Museum of the City of New York Centennial Exhibition. This is New York, 100 years of the city in art and pop culture, featuring a 16-screen immersive film, now on view. Tickets at mcny.org.
On the next All of It, musician Jenny Lewis. Her latest album is infused with optimism and even ecstasy, but she's still real enough to write lyrics like, "My 40s are kicking my ass and handing them to me in a margarita glass." She joins us to talk about her new album and tour. And I'll talk about my upcoming experience as a kidney donor with my colleague, Brian Lehrer. I'm Allison Stewart. Join me for All of It, weekdays at noon on WNYC.
Congress is trying to figure out how to improve air travel.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Indeed, a hiring solution that helps businesses attract, interview, and hire candidates in one place. More at Indeed.com/hire. And by Grammarly, offering Grammarly Business to help companies large and small communicate better and move faster with enterprise-grade generative artificial intelligence. Learn more at Grammarly.com/business.
From Marketplace, I'm Nancy Marshall-Genzer in for David Brancaccio. Airlines say shortages of pilots and air traffic controllers have contributed to flight delays and cancellations. The House yesterday took a crack at dealing with these issues with a bill that passed with overwhelming bipartisan support. Marketplace's Nova Safo has more.
House bill, which funds the Federal Aviation Administration, would raise the mandatory retirement age for commercial pilots from 65 to 67. For regional carriers, that means more experienced pilots who can train newcomers. The bill also provides more money to hire air traffic controllers. The Transportation Department wants to add 1,800 next year. The Senate is considering a similar bill, but is not as far along. One holdup has been on the question of whether to ease pilot training requirements. The House bill rejected that idea. Washington has until October 1st to reauthorize funding for the FAA. I'm Nova Safo for Marketplace.
Turkey's central bank has been an outlier when it comes to fighting inflation. It did not raise interest rates like almost everywhere else. Now with a new finance minister and central bank governor, things are changing. Victoria Craig reports from Ankara.
Rates are rising in a country led by a president famous for his objection to using them to fight inflation. But the pace is not as fast as perhaps some would like. The country's benchmark interest rate this week rose to 17.5% from 15%. That was a much smaller rise than both economists and local businesses predicted. And it's led some to question how far the president will allow the central bank to go in its fight against inflation. In the past, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has called interest rates, the mother and father of all evil. The central bank's gradual move higher comes as the finance ministry rolls out its own policies aimed at cooling consumer demand. Taxes on a range of goods have risen in recent weeks. In the long run, that could work toward the common goal of bringing prices down. In the short run, though, it makes goods more expensive for households already finding it difficult to afford basic necessities. In Ankara, Turkey, I'm Victoria Craig for Marketplace.
Let's do the numbers. The Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ futures are all up by around 0.5% or less, with the Dow future up about 60 points.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by C3 AI. C3 Generative AI provides ChatGPT enterprise search that is verifiable, secure, and accurate across all enterprise data. Learn more at c3.ai. This is Enterprise AI. And by Charles Schwab. The people at Schwab are passionate about helping investors. Learn more at schwab.com/whyschwab. And by Amazon Business, helping provide a smarter, easier way to get the supplies businesses need to thrive. Amazon Business, your partner for smart business buying.
This week, our sibling program Marketplace Tech has been reporting on artificial intelligence in the workplace. Goldman Sachs released a report earlier this year. It predicted AI advances could expose about 300 million jobs worldwide to automation. Will this be a net positive or negative for the workforce? Megan McCarty-Carino is the host of Marketplace Tech. She spoke with David Brancaccio.
Look, economists are debating this. Maybe in the long run, there'll be net many more better jobs because of this technology. Or maybe not, but no one says it's not going to be disruptive. How worried should workers be?
For some context, this Goldman Sachs report that, says hundreds of millions of jobs will be exposed to automation in the near future doesn't mean all those jobs are going to be lost. There will be some shuffling. There will be new jobs. We really wanted to ground our reporting this week in how people are using these tools in their work right now. What can that tell us about, the potential for new jobs, kind of the limits of this tech, and how we might realistically see this play out in the near term?
All right. So not start date 2153.7, but, now 2023. I mean, what kinds of workers are feeling the effects of this AI technology already?
Well, one industry that's getting a lot of attention is customer service. Researchers at Stanford and MIT studied, the rollout of a chat bot that's already happened to sort of assist human agents in answering common customer questions. Lindsay Raymond is one of the co-authors, and she said, this is sort of a case of AI augmenting work, not automating it.
When you think about history of technology, which technologies have been super impactful. A lot of those are augmentation technologies where you have a tractor, and what a tractor does is you have a human sit on top of it and it makes you far more powerful than you would be alone.
And Raymond says on average, this approach increased the number of cases resolved each hour by about 14%.
Yeah, and I saw that study. It was fascinating in the sense that the people with the least training benefited the most. So if you think about that,
it sort of brings people up to a certain level.
All right. Now, businesses are saying it's going to help people with better tools be more productive. But if with a new tool, one person can do the job of 5 people, then maybe 4 could lose.
These things take time to sort of percolate through the system. We spoke to a longtime copywriter and consultant, Carrie Harrison, who said, she's already seeing some businesses using ChatGPT to fully generate their promotional materials. Maybe businesses that wouldn't have been able to afford an experienced copywriter like her, or are okay with kind of average, very predictable text, which is, by design, what these chatbots generate. Harrison said that her business hasn't been affected and that, she's been using these tools. They've actually made her a better writer.
I just don't think there's any room now for mediocre, lazy copywriting. We have to be able to distinguish ourselves from ChatGPT.
Still, Harrison, she's been in the business for 20 years. And when she thinks about younger workers just trying to break in, she acknowledges, things could look very different.
Marketplace Tech host Megan McCarty-Carino, thank you very much.
Thanks, David.
And this special series from Marketplace Tech, AI on the Job, is now available at marketplace.org or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Nancy Marshall-Genzer with the Marketplace Morning Report. From APM, American Public Media.